Welcome to Intervision FM with Johnnie J, and this is part 2 of how did O.J. get away with murder. I'm your host, Johnnie J, and let me set up our show and the premise of what Intervision FM is. Intervision, the nonprofit, and Intervision FM are two entities that I created. Intervision is a nonprofit organization that works with physically challenged musical artists to teach them the business of music. And sometimes we have topics of music, and sometimes we have other topics that we talk about. And we're always open for your ideas and your suggestions on what you want to hear on the show. Now, this is a new show. It's a new old show on Comcast 56, 8 o'clock on Wednesdays. And you might see it some other times because sometimes they rotate their shows as well. It is not Democracy Now! We have nothing to do with Amy Goodman and her left-wing radical views. Okay, so we're not Democracy Now! We are, if anything, we're a republic, not a democracy. And maybe in school you guys learned that in civics, but I doubt it, because schools are just a propaganda tool for the left-wing radical views. So anyway, so as a nonprofit, we teach the business of music, teach artists how to get their royalties, teach them how to do the paperwork, teach them how to just, we're just a stepping stone, right? And once they learn that, then they move on. And so that's part of what we do. And also, we also sometimes produce concerts as well. And so that's just part of what Intervision does as a nonprofit. All right. Intervision FM is a radio and now YouTube TV show. And I am totally blind, so if the camera work is not fantastic, you got to remember that this is a blind person and we have no budget. Okay, we have absolutely no budget to hire a camera person and so forth. And this technology, I'm so happy that this technology has come out, so you can just grab your phone and just start filming stuff. And then public access TV allows me as a blind person to do television. I think I'm the only blind TV producer in Colorado. Now, if there's another one out there, you let me know. And hey, if you're a blind person and you want to do this, hey, there's room. I'm not saying, hey, there's only room for one blind TV producer. There's only room for one blind YouTube. Well, of course not, because there's some other blind guys on YouTube too that I've seen them. And on Spreaker, there's some other shows as well on that. So we ask that you subscribe to our YouTube. We ask that you subscribe to our Spreaker, and that you listen to my Christian Contemporary show on KUHS Denver, KUHS Denver every Sunday from 1 to 3. And then KOMF Radio 92.9 on the FM dial every Wednesday and Friday from 8 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. Right? And then of course right here on channel 56, Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Now let's get back into the topic. Why? O.J Simpson. How did O.J Simpson get away with committing murder? And I understand, 25 years later, the parents are grieving because they lost a son, they lost a daughter, and a lot of people in America are grieving. Like the people that, because the Democrats love illegals, a lot of the MS-13 people have caused a lot of parents to grieve because it seems like the Democrats, they love this illegal. Now, we don't mind legal immigrants, come here, you want to have a change, or you want to get rescued from a country that's persecuting you, okay, our arms are open. But if you're just coming here to sell drugs with the opium, and it wasn't an epidemic until it spilled over into the majority community. If you come in here illegally and you want to continue your gang affiliation like you did in your own country, and you want to brutalize young people and other people because you have no rules in your country, or you have rules, but you don't want to obey those rules, and you don't want to obey our rules. And as I understand it, there's like, how do we get off into this? Is this something that I've been thinking about? We have about 1 million people getting the citizenships here in America a year, and then you got these other people who are doing it illegally. So it is possible. Here, I know in Colorado, it only costs $725 here to and a couple of, you have to study the American history, and it's just matter of like studying, knowing the three parts of the government, unlike ALC, who doesn't know the three branches of government. But anyway, let's get back to OJ. I'm sorry, I got up in that tyrant. Anyway, so OJ is seeing his wife, or hearing about her friend or boyfriend, it doesn't matter if it's a friend or boyfriend, driving around in the car, right? And so, he's having this tyrants and jealousy, of course. And as I said, like, these things are happening in America. I won't go back too far, like, Emma Till, 14-year-old boy, killed by 2 white men, shot in the back of the head because he whistled at a white woman, and those guys were let go. Then 60s, civil rights, of course, the dogs by the mayor of that town being sicked on these kids, fire hoses and spray, and we saw that on TV. And John F. Kennedy, not because he wanted to, but because he knew that it's not politically good. And supposing, the Democrats had lied to black people, said, hey, we're on your side, but then you had the Dixiecrats who set up the Jim Crow laws, and you had the President Jackson, who started up the KKK. So, for some reason, black people, like the Who song, we won't get fooled again. Sometimes, I guess, we got fooled again into believing that these Democrats were for us, right? So you had that going on. Then you had the riots in 1965 in California and Detroit. Then you had the riot that happened a year before this with OJ, when it was filmed that these policemen beating up on a black man that was handcuffed. All right, so you had that going on. So this was just a perfect storm for something like this, and I believe that OJ is the first black man that ever got away with killing a white woman and or a Jewish person. And in a perfect world, man, I wish people would learn how to get along. In a perfect world, I wish that there was no jealousy, there was no hatred. But unfortunately, we don't live in a perfect world where people respect your right to live and pursue of happiness without being interfered with, unfortunately. And unfortunately, jealousy is not only on black husbands and white wives, or black husbands and black wives. Jealousy goes across the board. And jealousy can be a sickness. It can be a real sickness. Now, I've known, I think about 3 women that, was it 2 or, no, I think it was 2 women I ever dated that were like jealous. No, 3, I think. And jealous can make you mentally ill. I think it should be put in the category of mental illness. I remember this one lady was sitting back where I was working at the Gold Nugget Disco, and she was flirting with this guy, playing pool with him, and then this lady came up and she gave me a hug because she wanted to thank me for playing a song for her at this nightclub. Next thing I know, this girlfriend of mine, she had grabbed the girl by the head and hair and was pulling her down to the ground and was about to beat the crap out of her. And our bouncer, Leroy, had to stop this from happening. And I'm thinking, like, what are you doing? And the girl says, hey, I just wanted to thank Johnnie J for playing some songs that I requested. I'm thinking, like, what are you doing? Here you're over there flirting with this guy playing pool, and people tell me, hey, Johnny, she's sitting on this guy's lap and all that. And I'm not, I said, okay, that's what she wants to do. That's what she's going to do, This is a barfly, right? When I used to date barflies. And then I had this, then I had this other one who she would actually see people that weren't there following us. So she had it in mind that I guess one of my volunteers was in love with me and was following me, and we were out in Aurora at the Aurora Fox Theater, and she said, I saw her, and she was walking like a distance behind us, and we got on this bus, and she was following us. And I'm thinking, like, yeah, are you okay? And I'm thinking, like, wow, so I don't understand the jealousy mentality, and I don't like it. And if I ever find myself like getting to the mode where I'm with somebody and I'm jealous over that person, that's the time for me to either get psychological help or to get out of that situation. And as I said, O.J. had divorced her, but he maybe his possessiveness, his jealousy, he wasn't over, and he wasn't seeking any kind of psychological help with this problem that he had, and he should have seek that help. So, wow. So one night I guess he was probably stalking Nicole. And let me see where we are in the process. And let's see. So we're at 15 minutes and 45 seconds. I want to set us back up again. You're watching Innovision FM. We are a nonprofit organization that works with the physically challenged musical artists to teach them the business of music. And we want to remind you that we are on KUHS Denver every Sunday from 1 to 3. And we're also on KOMF Radio 92.9 on the FM dial every Wednesday and Fridays from 8 a.m. to 8:30. And we're also now on Channel 56, Denver Community Television. Well, let's say Denver Community Media. Let's put it that way. Denver Community Media. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m. So, I think I covered it. Oh, and we ask you to subscribe to our YouTube and subscribe to our Spreaker as well. So, you got this perfect storm, and then you have him, like, maybe as he was stalking him, coming on following that night, he gets out of the car, and maybe there was some words transformed, and then enraged O.J. He probably first took Ron Goldman out, because that's another guy and that's another type of strength. And then he turned his attention to Nicole Brown. And of course, I guess there are pictures of the crime scene that, I guess in the 80s and beyond, and 80s and below the 80s, in our televised stuff that they would never show us. I remember the closest thing was like when Kennedy was shot, and Mrs. Kennedy, she kept on the same dress that had blood stains on it, and so that was as close as you're going to see of an incident like where it showed the aftermath of a crazed person doing something crazy. So then it comes back to, like I said, I just had this operation corneal transplant, and I was watching TV, and then they said, we have a special report, and they interrupted the program, and I'm looking at it, and I got 20/30 vision, so I went from 20 over 200 to 20 over to 30 over, let's see, 20 over 30, and so I'm looking at this Bronco, and Broncos were very popular back then, and I guess they got more advertising than anything, and you're hearing O.J. We're not hearing the conversation between O.J. and the policeman, and in this case, you talk about like some of the people that the guy Rodney King, who got beat by the policeman in the year before, and they let the police go and said they were innocent. In O.J.'s case, he knew the Los Angeles Police Department because when they did movies out there, the Los Angeles Police Force, they protected the people on the movie set. So O.J., unlike the average black male in Los Angeles, they knew on a very personal and a good level the police, because the police were used to protect pretty much like the rich neighborhoods, to protect celebrities. So there was a relationship, and as you listen to this policeman talk to O.J., you know that they had a relationship, which is different than, like I said, the other ones. So that was what was different about O.J.'s case, that he had a relationship with these people. And even though there was some like the racist policemen in that department, and it was, even though they called black people derogatory names, that was going to be their downfall, because they had him. I mean, the shoes, he was wearing his shoes, and the footprints from those shoes were at the scene. There was blood in the Bronco. He had showered and discarded the clothes. They probably found traces of blood in the shower. I mean, it was all this evidence that said O.J. did it, but because of the riots that happened before, because of the Rodney King, the riots that happened before, and the black people in the poor communities seeing that the policeman got away with this, and not even a slap on the hand saying, okay, well, I mean, not even any charge, just everybody was innocent. That really set up this perfect storm for this situation to happen, where now the black people say, okay, we've been saying for years and years how you guys have got away with murder. Now it's our turn. And even though I would listen to Howard Stern's show, and he would say, you can't believe that O.J. Didn't do this. But black people, lock and step, they would say, no, he's innocent, no, he's innocent. Just like when the white Klansmen and the white people, killed black people, they would lock, stock, and barrel. Oh, he didn't kill that black person. He did, So it was almost like that division, that dividing line along the same way. And I've been reading like Romans 12. And I've been reading this over and over again. And it talks about don't return evil for evil. Overcome evil with love. And America, for so long, has been returning evil for evil, and for so long, not living peacefully with each other and with others. Now, like I said, for the most part, we do. We try to. I'm amazed, the things that go on here in America. We can live so peacefully. Go to movies and we can go downtown and people are not shooting at each other, and only a very rare occasions where you find gang members going after each other and shooting at each other, but that's usually squelched, and that's not the norm here, with people strapping on bombs and going into a crowd and blowing themselves up. So in America, we have our undercurrent of problems, but at that point, it was a reckoning between seeing white people get away with killing and raping our wives, our sisters, our relatives, and seeing white people get away with that, and then white people, even killing black men and getting away with it, especially in the South. I remember one time I was in the South, and we heard about this. I heard about on the news that this black man had jumped off the bridge and committed suicide, and all the black people around me said he didn't commit suicide. And man, I thought that was so weird, because I'm just like a 14-year-old kid. I'm thinking like, what? The news is not fake news. Why would they say that this black man committed suicide? But you black guys are saying, black women and guys are saying, no, that wasn't suicide. Well, it's like, when you're just getting into the world and you're 14 years old, you don't realize how much evil, how much hatred is in the world, because you're trying to, you have to be taught to hate. You have to be taught evil. And sometimes evil is developed in you because you're selfish. Your parents doesn't, correct that selfishness, because when you're a baby, it's all about me. It's all about me. And then your parents have to guide you through, no, it's not all about you. And even when you're planning, for people who plan for the burial, there's a lot of people in America who don't plan for their death. And that's kind of selfish, because you leave it to people who are grieving that you died to come up with the money to put you in the ground or to cremate you. And so I've been listening to a lot of shows about developing a plan and just not leaving it up to your relatives to do this, right? So in O.J.'s case, he just got overraged. He decided he did this, and I don't think it was, maybe he wasn't planning on doing this, or maybe he was, because he had, he had stuff there, to chop up a body like that, cut off a head, and do all that kind of stuff. You have to have some kind of idea that if it goes south, this is what I'm going to do. So he had the tools there, and so of course, you saw the series about the trial and so forth, and then him putting on the glove, and Johnny Cochran saying, if it doesn't fit, you must acquit. And Johnny Cochran had did a lot of other trials where policemen had wrongfully shot a black. I remember this one was in the movie, and this guy was trying to get his wife to the hospital, and the policeman came up to the car and said, "What are you doing? You're driving fast." And he stuck the gun in the car, and he shot the husband while he was trying to get his wife to the hospital. And he said, "Oh, I made a mistake. Well, how would you like to be taking your wife to the hospital?" A policeman, pulls you over, and you say, tell him, "Hey, officer, my wife is pregnant. I'm trying to get her to the hospital," and then he shoots you. That should have never happened, right? So, Johnny Cochran had got a lot of money out of Los Angeles police, city and county of Los Angeles, because the cops were just doing stupid things. And then for the head policeman of this that was running the investigation, to be calling black people the N-word, right? It's not the place for a cop to be calling any of the citizens any derogatory racial names. And that just made the black people that were on that jury even more furious, and maybe even some of the white people that were on that jury even more furious to say, wait a minute, you know, the police department, and maybe those white people didn't even know that that kind of stuff could even happen, because these policemen were white people. They were in their neighborhood and they saw them differently than when they went into the black neighborhoods. And like I said in my last recording, the Muslims, I don't know what happened to them, because they were providing a lot of security, a lot of protection for black people in areas, and somehow they just faded out, and they weren't, you know, self-policing a lot of the black criminals that were happening, criminalities that were happening with the gangs and all that kind of stuff. And I even heard like the, what's the name of this? It was a motorcycle group in America, and I forgot the name, but you know the name. Now they've legitimized themselves, and they used to be like you know, dealing drugs, and maybe they still are. But, you know, now they're different, and now they're developing their brand and they're selling stuff and so forth, and I heard that now there's they with Coca-Cola, I guess that the Crips have made a drink called Crip Cola or something like that. So they're trying to develop their brand. So there was a lot of crazy things going on. So I mean, that's just the conclusion. I mean, it was just a perfect storm. O.J. did do the crime, and I understand why black people said, oh, he didn't do it, because of so many years of white people saying they never killed or lynched or hung up black people. They were in denial, so black people say, okay, we're going to play the same game. But like I said, in Romans chapter 12, it says, two evils do not, it doesn't make a right, and don't return evil for evil. And hopefully there'll be more people reading that and understanding what that means. I want to let you know that you can subscribe to our YouTube. Go ahead and hit the like, share this, and let people know that Intervision FM is back and in full effect. We're on KOMF Radio, 92.9 on the FM dial every Wednesday and Friday at 8 a.m. to 8:30, and KUHS Denver every Sunday from 1 to 1:30. And we just want to say God bless you, and we'll see you the next time here on Intervision FM.